Of course, during the record government shutdown tonight, our investigative team's Johnson Kuhn has uncovered how some Alaska federal employees are facing notices from landlords to terminate their leases. Johnson, what'd you find?
That's right, Ariane. What we found is under Alaska tenant landlord rules, there are very few protections for those essential workers, like the federal worker I talked to this week, facing unprecedented financial strain during the shutdown. He received a notice to terminate his lease.
This company has put me through a nightmare.
The nightmare Anchorage's Daniel Becker is talking about is Widener Apartment Homes sending the 24-year federal employee this notice to quit form as he works without pay during the government shutdown.
If you can imagine being an essential federal worker that's required to perform their duties while at the same time trying to worry about the eviction notice that you just got on your door, it is extremely stressful.
And adding to his stress, he showed us this series of Widener messages. Starting on October 22nd, Becker sent Widener's staff this letter from his employer, explaining the government shutdown would potentially delay his November rent payment. Widener's staff responded in an October 31st email apologizing for the delay, advising Becker he'd need to send recent pay stubs as proof of employment in addition to the first letter. Becker says he did and showed us he made a partial payment. Then on November 3rd, Becker received this notice of lease termination. As a result, Becker's federal employer wrote this letter directly to Widener on November 5th.
I was just reaching out to you because there was a new notice that was put on your door.
Adding to Becker's confusion, more messages with 4 different deadlines for paying the remainder of his rent. Fearing eviction, Becker says he borrowed money from a coworker to pay the rest of his rent.
They were very vague in my communications with them, and they were more concerned about getting their money by the end of the month than they were with working with me, despite the fact that when they were contacted by my superiors were told, yeah, we'll work with federal employees.
But now, for federal employees working without pay, unlike relief acts during the pandemic, there are currently no similar moratoriums in Alaska. Unlike states like Maryland, which allow federal workers to pause eviction proceedings during shutdown, the state follows the Uniform Residential Landlord and Tenant Act, which requires only a 7-day notice to pay before eviction proceedings.
They have shown me that they value my rent money more than they value fostering the relationships with tenants and community.
Becker calls this, quote, one of the worst experiences of his life, and says many federal colleagues are struggling, resorting to loans and assistance from friends to cover basic expenses.
Even with the current bills that are passing and hopefully will be signed by the president, we are still facing this again in January. So in talking with my peers and coworkers, we're already talking about preparations for that possibility.
And after spending days requesting comment from Widener, a spokesperson just sent us a statement. Here's part of it, saying of Becker, he received the proper notices required under Alaska state law regarding monies owed. While it is true that he received multiple notices that may have been confusing, we were obligated to reissue them after he made partial payments to the account. Going on to say, to clarify, Widener did not file any eviction actions in this case, and we remain committed to working with all of our residents throughout the duration of the shutdown. Widener's full statement is live right now on our website and mobile app. And by the way, we did try reaching out to the governor and Anchorage mayor about this. They have not returned our request for comment. The Attorney General's office referred all questions about legal concerns to resources employees are receiving. Johnson Kuhn, Alaska's news source.